Analytics. Presenting for us today from Microsoft, we have the following senior FastTrack solution architects: Ashraf, Nuno, and Avanti. This is the 5th episode of our TechTalk series on FastTrack's implementation resources for Dynamics 365 customer service. In the previous episodes, we introduced this resource collection and presented some of the samples and tools that are already available on topics like Channel Integration Framework, Copilot Studio and Artificial Intelligence, and much more. We also have discussed how to implement a testing strategy for your customer service solution. If you missed those live events, you can access the recordings from the links on this page. On this episode, we'll discuss analytics capabilities in customer service. You will find details on all upcoming TechTalk events for this and other series in the Dynamics 365 community portal. In today's episode, we'll discuss which analytics capabilities are available for customer service solutions and how it is possible to extend the out-of-the-box reports and dashboards. All the resources you will see today and the ones we previously presented can be accessed from our homepage at this link that we will also be shared in the Q&A panel. Remember that you can use the Q&A panel to post your questions and the presenters will try to reply on that. New and updated resources will be added over time, so please remember to check back regularly on this link to discover new articles and resources. Before we deep dive on today's content, let's answer some of the common questions about our implementation resources. We implement our deliverables by following Microsoft best practices and product recommendations. However, they are not considered part of the product. These resources must be considered community content, documentation, and starter samples to implement your own project, not a final product for production use. When you decide to use these resources, you will use them as reference or guidance to build your own solution. All the articles are published in our Learn portal, which is curated by Microsoft. However, some resources will have a corresponding GitHub repo to host code samples and starter solutions. We will also evaluate additional collaboration opportunities in the future. You can forward your proposals through the Ideas portal, which is one of the sources we evaluate for new deliverables. Additionally, if you have FastTrack engaged on your project, you can also share your suggestions with the assigned solution architect. Ashraf, now over to you to start our presentation.
Hi all. Our tech talk today will be divided into 4 main parts, aiming to cover Dynamics DCCP analytics from end to end. We will start with the details on how to plan DCCP analytics at the beginning of any Dynamics Contact Center implementation. Then we will dive into what Dynamics Contact Center can provide out of the box when it comes to the analytics. After that, we will cover how to extend the out-of-the-box analytics. Then finally, we will discuss the ALM around the custom reports. This should give us a comprehensive end-to-end understanding on this topic. Thanks for joining, and let's get started. First, let's discuss how to build your strategy around Dynamics DCCP analytics. Broaden your analytics vision. Focus beyond the contact center and customer service. It is essential to consider a broader organizational impact. Include organizational stakeholders such as management, sales, and marketing teams. Their input is crucial for a comprehensive strategy. Drive the strategy with a company-wide vision. This ensures alignment across departments. Second step is to determine the KPIs. Measure success with specific metrics. Clear KPIs help tracking progress and performance. Example includes average handling time, first call resolution, customer satisfaction, and agent productivity. These metrics provide a comprehensive view of the contact center performance. Then we should dive to what is the best practice for DCCP analytics. First thing, always start with the out-of-the-box capabilities. Explore the reports that comes out of the box and deep dive into them and their capabilities. Second step is identifying the gaps in the out-of-the-box reports. And the key here is to plan for the early action at the start of the project. Determine the necessary tools and the skill sets for the reporting expansion. Ensure there are resources equipped to handle advanced customizations when it comes to the Power BI. The last step is, when it comes to the strategy, the alignment of the reporting strategy with the company-wide business objectives. Ensure reports are actionable and insightful for the organization. And always use the insights that comes from the contact center to enhance the contact center performance and the wide company strategy as well. Now, we are moving to the next steps after finalizing the initialization phase, which we should have now a wide company reporting strategy. The first step and the crucial step is doing a fit gap analysis. Let's understand first the out-of-the-box capabilities. Usually this starts by the engaging the stakeholders and explain to them what comes when we are talking about DCCP analytics, what comes out of the box in terms of reporting and dashboards. Then performing a detailed fit gap analysis. Conduct in-depth analysis to identify any gaps between the current capabilities and the specific performing and specific reporting needs for the organization. And explore alternative solution. Consider customizing out-of-the-box reports to bridge the identified gaps. Plan capabilities and costs. Early identification of the gaps allows for a better planning regarding necessary capabilities and the associated costs to meet the organization DCCP analytics goals. The early planning will protect the project from any unnecessary delays or a sudden cost at the end of the project. Now we are moving to the next steps. After finalizing the initialization phase, let's deep dive into what is available out of the box when it comes to Dynamics DCCP. The first one that was landed out of the box before the real-time analytics is the historical analytics. In Dynamics 365 customer service, historical analytics provide essential out-of-the-box reports. These reports deliver critical insights into trends, KPIs that are fundamental to any call center operation. When we are talking about the key features or the key KPIs that actually comes out of the box, let's start with the average handling time. This metric helps you understand the efficiency of your call center handling processes by measuring the average time agents takes to handle interaction from start to finish. Then the first call resolution. This KPI measures the effectiveness of resolving customer issues on the first contact. Then agent productivity. This tracks how efficiently the agents are performing by providing insights into the volume of work handled by each agent. This helps identify top performance and those who may need additional support or training. Then the customer satisfaction score High satisfaction score indicates quality service and effective issue resolutions, which is essential for any organization. Omnichannel real-time analytics provide critical up-to-the-minute insights into the contact center operation, allowing supervisors and managers to make informed decisions quickly. When we are talking about the key features, the real-time dashboards. The real-time dashboards offers an overview of the customer interaction across various channels and queues. It could include metrics on service level, customer sentiment, and agent availability. Second crucial one is the real-time monitoring and intervention. This allows the supervisor to keep an eye on the key performance indicators as they happen in real time. This enables immediate course of correction to maintain high service level. Let's take an example. If there is a sudden spike in the call volume, the supervisor can quickly reallocate resources to manage the increased workload. Third one is the agent performance metrics. It provides insights into the current status, capacity, if proficiency of the agent. By reviewing these metrics, supervisors can effectively allocate resources and ensure that the customer queries are handled by the most suitable agent. The last one is the conversation management. We have under the real-time reports is the ongoing conversation reports. This tracks the active conversation, showing details like conversation status, assigned agent, and customer sentiment. The supervisor can monitor and intervene in just real time, ensuring a smooth and effective handling of the interaction. These reports usually provide a holistic view on the ongoing conversation and their statuses, helping to manage them effectively. These features make real-time analytics a powerful tool for maintaining high service level, optimizing the resource allocation, and ensure effective and efficient handling of the customer interactions in Dynamics 365 DCCP. While we have discussed the historical analytics and real-time analytics, let's grab them hand by hand in front of each other and let's explore what is the difference. Historical analytics provides insight into the past performance. It usually helps in the understanding of the long-term trends, and it is used to make a strategic decision. On the other side, the real-time analytics offer up-to-the-minute insight into the contact center operation in just real time, which usually enable the supervisor to act quickly on any changing condition. Their roles are complementary to each other. Both types of analytics are essential and need to work side by side. They are not replacing each other to provide a complete picture of the contact center operation. Historical analytics, on one hand, help you identify the long-term trends and make strategic improvements. Let's take an example. If you notice a consistent increase in the average handle time over several months, you might decide to invest in additional training for the agents or improve the call handling processes. When we are talking about real-time analytics, it enables the real-time monitor of the current performance to make an immediate adjustment. If you see that a particular agent is overwhelmed with the calls, you can reallocate resources in real time to balance the workload and maintain the service level. If we step back, usually there is a reactive and proactive approach when it comes to real-time analytics and historical analytics. Use the real-time data to react to the current issues and the historical data to proactively prevent them from the future. As I highlighted, both of them are powerful and they need to be used side by side. There is no one replacing the other. Now, while we have covered the basics and we dived into what comes out of the box, I will hand over to Nuno. He will walk us through how to actually extend those reports.
Thank you, Ash. So let's now see how can we extend these data models of the historical and real-time analytics. Let's start by the reasons that can make our customers to extend the existing data model. Attend to any specific API that product doesn't attend with the out-of-the-box reporting. So when we have organizations with any performance indicator that out-of-the-box reporting doesn't attend, extending reporting can be the right path. When out-of-the-box data model meet the requirements, but you may leverage from more details on a different control from how data will be displayed. For example, if you need to narrow down into some specific data. Industry or regulator compliance, so when local regulators demand to have reporting as evidence on specific process. And finally, any integration with other systems, so when you need to have a specific data model to integrate with other external systems. There are some important facts to know from the prerequisite. Historical and real-time analytics must be enabled. What this means, you must enable once and individually the real-time and historical analytics, meaning that you can choose to use both kinds of the analytics or just one. Admin privilege over customer service app and Power BI is required. So in order to configure customer service analytics, you must have admin privilege over customer service. In the same way, you need to have similar privilege on the Power BI where the workspace is or will be created. Power BI skills is a good to have to create or modify the reports. Power BI Professional or Premium license is required so you can publish back the customer reporting and use the workspace. And TDS endpoint must be enabled on your environment. As we saw during previous slides, we need to enable the data model customization. Enabling data model customization will provision a copy from the out-of-the-box data model in the selected workspace. That will be used as the data set to connect from the Power BI desktop later. On the left image, we can see that workspace is already configured and reports were provisioned during step 2. On the right image, accessing our workspace is possible to visualize that out-of-the-box reporting is already available. Let's now see how to create the new report. On the top image, I'm using Power BI Desktop and choosing to get data from Power BI semantic models. So we can choose the data set from the workspace. On the bottom picture, we will visualize the data models available on the workspaces that I have access, including the ones provisioned by the real-time and historical analytics. Selecting the right data model, we will click on Connect. At this point, we can access and use the out-of-the-box omnichannel and relationship. I'm still on the Power BI desktop, and we can see two different ways to visualize available tables, columns, and relationships. So it's time to create our new and first report. After we have our custom report created, saved, and published on our Power BI workspace, we need to add back to the custom reports to the customer service sitemap. So our business users can access and use the new customer reporting. For this, we need to go back to data model customization and add the new report that we want to upload to customer service app. At this point, and after these steps, the report is available from customer service, and as an example, this custom report is adding the present status to the available capacity and ID, and this report is already available on the customer service app. Let's now run a demo from what we were discussing so far. So using Power BI, let's go to Get Data and use the Power BI semantic model. We can see here several workspaces, so let's choose the data set from our workspace. We can see that immediately we will have all the available columns under data. So let's build our first report. Let's choose the visual that we want and select the columns that will be part of this first report. In this case, let's see the amount of time that each agent was connected. Now that the report is created, I just save the report. So I need to give a name. At this point, the report will be saved locally on my computer. So save it, and now it's time to publish back to the workspace that we have configured on Omnichannel. Publishing, selecting the right workspace, and publish. Now that the report is published, let's go back to Customer Service app, Admin Center, and upload the report to Omnichannel. So in this case, under Insight, let's go to the Analytics, and on the Embed Customized Report back to Dynamics 365, we will select the report that we just created. We must give a new name. It can be different from the one that we gave on the report. Add, save, and save everything. This is the last step that we need to perform to have our report available on our customer service app. From here, we can go to Customize Reports, and we will be able to see the report that we just created, a customer report based on the out-of-the-box Omnichannel data model.
Thanks, Nuno. So as we have seen in Nuno's report, we have to actually manually need to navigate to Customer Service Admin Center and add the report. However, as part of the regular ALM cycle, generally all the development happens in dev environment, and we want to use pipelines to move to higher environment. So I'm actually starting with a small demo, which will show on what we are doing as part of the ALM process. So here, as Nuno demonstrated building the custom report, we'll now see a ADO pipeline, which will actually deploy the report in the target environment. So the report which Nuno created is TT_agent. So I'm updating the schema.xml file with TT_agent report, which will actually trigger the pipeline or the accelerator pipeline, which gets the report details from the source environment, in this case, the source Dataverse environment, and deploys into the target environment. The pipeline actually uses the Power Platform build tools to export the data from the source and then import that back to the target environment. Also, there is a custom PowerShell script which was created, which actually gets the target workspace and updates all the report references so that the report is actually deployed and also the configuration is added in the target environment. As you can see here, the TT_agent report is now available in the target environment. So for this ALM, we actually used Power Platform build tools, which is already available as part of any of the pipelines, which is either Azure DevOps pipelines or GitHub pipelines. Any of them, we have these tools which actually where we actually export and import the data. And then there is a custom PowerShell script, which in this case I have used PowerShell, but we can actually use any of the scripting languages and call it from the pipeline. The PowerShell script actually gets all the report configurations from the target environment, like the workspace information and stuff. So we go and query the workspace, get the report ID, and update the report references in the report related Dataverse entity. And once all of the updates are done, that's when the target environment report is deployed and you can see it. All of these steps are actually provided in this link, which will be shared after the meeting with all in the resources section. If you can see in the resources, all of them are actually added and will be all the links which are used in this tech talk are shared in the resources link. So this will actually help This ALM, along with the customization and the reporting architecture, will help you to extend reports and deploy in your target environment. And this is the community resource links where you can stay connected with us and let us know your thoughts on how the tech talk is and stuff. And now we'll have time for Q&A.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Avanti, Nuno, and Ashraf for presenting. So first of all, I wanted to remind everyone that as Avanti showed all the demos and topics we discussed so far, you can find the detailed articles going step by step on all the configurations that you saw in the demos. So you can follow along the same steps that you saw in the videos and with more detailed instructions in the written document and guide. So today's objective was to give you an overview of what is possible. But if you want to review the steps, you can see the recording afterwards of this session, but you can also see the related articles on the Learn pages to follow the same steps. Now, let's look at some of the common questions that people might have about what we showed. So, Avanti, starting from you with the ALM process, one common question is, if I'm doing ALM for the custom report like you showed, can I do that in a way to match what I have in my CI/CD process for Dynamics 365 already? So maybe in my organization, we already set up some pipelines for the Dynamics 365 solution. Can I do the ALM of the customer report in a way that is, let's say, compatible and coherent with that?
Yes, Michelle. So the ALM which is presented in this Tech Talk actually uses Power Platform build tools. So we can actually add as a step in the existing pipeline where we can also deploy the reports along with the solution deployment, which we generally do as part of Dataverse ALM, right? We do solution imports and exports using ADO pipelines or GitHub pipelines. So the same can be done, and we can add a step to deploy the DCCP analytic reports as well.
Cool. This is wonderful. So let's say we are not requiring different tools, different technologies, or much diverse skills for our team to handle that. So now a part of what is required to actually build the report, but from an ALM perspective, this is in line to what we do already in Power Platform, which is very important for existing teams and organizations. Cool. Now, another question, I think, Nuno, this is for you. So we saw earlier extension of the out-of-the-box report, and we talked mostly about historical analytics and real-time analytics. But currently, we now have an additional section on the out-of-the-box reports, which is dedicated to Copilot analytics. So is that also extensible as well?
Yeah, so the Copilot actually analytics in customer service is part of the historical analytics. So everything that we have discussed today is applicable to the Copilot analytics. Same fundamentals, it can be extended. It can be extended to include more details in Dataverse, from Dataverse, or actually another a couple of customers have extended beyond Dataverse as well. Totally supported, same fundamentals under historical analytics.
Yeah, wonderful, great. So we're saying it's probably different. The data model is slightly different because different KPIs, but all the procedures that we described today and the steps to extend are exactly the same if you want to extend that specific section.
Spot on, Michelle. Exactly.
Wonderful. I think this is very important now that many organizations are starting to use Copilot in customer service to also get some insights and KPIs about that in the same way that you described for the customer care and DCCP performance.
Exactly. A lot of attention right now with the Copilot, with all our investments and reporting on the Copilot, because if we talked about the Copilot analytics, it has actually a lot of details around the utilizations, how the agents are performing without the Copilot and with the Copilot, and the extension here is the key as well.
Yeah, totally makes sense. And now that we are talking about extension, what would be the request in terms of skill set and eventually licensing considerations that an organization will have to do. Let's suppose my development team is doing report extension for the first time in a project. So what kind of skills are we looking at, and which kind of tools or licensing we might need that we didn't have before?
Another great question. I think if we stepped back, most of the DCCP configuration can be done with Dynamics capabilities. Functional or technical consultants can actually do most of the configurations. But when we are talking about the extending of the historical and real-time reports, we are talking about different skill set. It is mainly around the Power BI. So to make it successful and with the least impact on the project timeline, there is a need to inject someone with strong Power BI capabilities within the project. Of course, with the help with the Dynamics folks, but the skills is mainly around the Power BI. And this is why it is essential to do the fit gap analysis at the beginning of the project, because what we have seen a couple of times, that's the Dynamics with the Dynamics capabilities usually doesn't fulfill the ask about the extension. There is a need for a Power BI technical resource.
Yeah, it really makes sense, because exactly like you said, an organization starting a customized solution for Dynamics 365 may be looking at building a team with a specific skill set on Power Platform and, editing the solution for your forms and views and Dataverse data model. While if you identify a gap in the out-of-the-box support and need to extend that, you may be looking at slightly different skill sets. So you need some people able to work with Power BI Desktop, for example, and extending the model like we described here. So nothing too difficult for anyone to learn by following also the documentation we provided today, but might be something that you need to plan ahead at the beginning of your project. So totally agree with your recommendation to identify this gap the sooner the better, and start planning for that so that you can incorporate this process into your development cycle.
Exactly.
Cool. Good stuff. So I see there are no additional questions from the chat. Let me remind you about our Dynamics 365 community webpage, where you will find not only information about new tech talks in the future, like we said before. This is also the place where you will find the recordings and a copy of the presentation that we showed today. This concludes today's Tech Talk event. Thanks to all of our presenters for what they showed today, and thanks to